Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for a film that I picked up a couple of days ago, and I wanted to watch it really bad since it came out in 2013. It is written and directed by Jonathan Levine, who did 50/50, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt cancer movie. I haven't seen that film. I've always wanted to see that too. This movie kind of makes me wonder whether it would be worth my time or not. Anyway, this is a film called Warm Bodies. I talked about this recently when I showed it in a haul video, and I wanted to watch it. I decided this weekend I'd watch a horror movie every night, and, here I am. So, Warm Bodies. This is kind of the equivalent of a zombie version of Twilight. At least most of us thought it was at the time. I'll be honest with you, after watching this, I think Twilight's better than this. It's just my personal opinion. I know it's a hot take, but that's what I think. This is kind of a romance movie, kind of a teenager movie, like a John Hughes zombie movie, if you will. It's kind of a horror comedy, but not up to the par of something like, even something I don't like Evil Dead 2. It's not a Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's nothing in that ballpark of quality, of great filmmaking, anything like that. Warm Bodies kind of has a lot of good elements in an overall generic, kind of underneath average movie for my personal taste, if I'm being honest with you. There's not like an amazing cast here, but our main lead, who goes by a character named R, is Nicholas Hoult, who played Beast in some of the recent X-Men movies from First Class onward, when 20th Century Fox still owned those movies. And I'm a big Nicholas Hoult fan. He really proved himself in this movie with the performance he tries to give, mainly through his eyes, not even so much through words, because his type of zombie, out of the two types there are, doesn't really get to talk much until later on in the movie, which I don't want to get into that. Nicholas Hoult was also recently in Renfield, which I thought he was the best thing in the entire film, aside from Nicolas Cage, who was also excellent in that boring-ass movie, that messy-ass movie. Warm Bodies feels like an indie romance film. Think of like a Mark Webb film pre-Spider-Man. It has its moments, and I like the two zombies things. I'll get into that, I guess, before I even get into the plot. The general plot is it's a romance movie. Nicholas Hoult is a zombie. He's named R by this girl that he sees, who was dating Dave Franco. He eats Dave Franco right in front of her, and when he eats people's brains as a zombie, he sees visions of, like, memories they have. He also has the same feelings they have and whatnot. But he falls in love with this girl, played by Teresa Palmer, pretty much from the get-go, before he even eats Dave Franco. And that part is kind of sweet. This little bit of love story thing, I think it's overplayed too much. It's too much in that teenage realm, I personally think. I don't think it's as good as it was maybe 11 years ago. I don't know. That's about it for a plot. But there's two types of zombies. You have R, Nicholas Hoult's character, that she names him R, by the way. And they're just kind of the George Romero traditional slow zombies who don't really run as much until they absolutely have to, because this film can't really make itself up on the idea, make its mind up, on what kind of lore they want to have. Do the zombies run or do they not run? Because there's another type of zombie called Bonies, by the narration we have in the film from Nicholas Hoult, which, by the way, I don't think we needed narration for this movie. I think it personally, if I had to bet, did not have narration from his brain looking out of the windows of his eyes to see all the things around him and tell us, the audience, about it. I personally think that was not a part of this film originally, because it feels tacked on quite a bit, the narration does, and everybody knows with movies, voiceover narration is typically a cheat to try to make you feel certain things that the original script couldn't make you feel. I think this would have been a better film if it had not had all of the narration. It feels like a film that was originally a straight-out R-rated movie that was cut down to PG-13 and added narration by Nicholas Hoult to try to appease to dumbass teenage audiences and stupid audience members. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy for thinking that. Let me know what you think about that little theory down in the comment section down below. But the other type of zombie I was talking about, Bonies, as R tells us, are essentially walking skeletons with no eyes, no guts, nothing like that. And I really thought that was a creepy looking thing. The practical effects that are mostly used in this film and the little bit of CGI they have always looks good. The Bonies are one of the few things in this movie that seem to be, as far as I can tell, completely made of CGI, and they look good. They look so much better than this movie deserved. It has excellent CGI, and when they have some practical effects, they look really good. I really like all of that. But there's a big focus on Nicholas Hoult rescuing this young girl, and she doesn't really understand at first why he saved her, why he did not eat her. Usually that's a very compulsory thing from he and other zombies, but he kind of protects her. He holds on to her in his little airplane house for like 3 days, trying to get her to stay there until it's safer for her to leave, but he really just kind of cares about her. He has some feelings for her, which is very weird, but again, it's a teenage horror movie, so I can kind of understand where that's coming from. The comedy element for me does not work very well. I feel like it doesn't play out very well to me. It just doesn't land on its feet most of the time, in my opinion. You have some other people in the film you've probably seen before too. I mentioned Dave Franco. John Malkovich is in this as Teresa Palmer's dad, and he's kind of like a big voice in the community of the very few humans left, because this is also, by the way, a post-apocalyptic movie. You have the small towns. Think of like Peninsula, if you've seen that, the sequel to Train to Busan, where you have communities of people, just like in a Romero film, that are just surviving in their small community of humans that are trying to keep the zombies out of their gated community. And this film feels like sometimes it's trying to do some weird social commentary, but kind of bland social commentary, again, tacked on, like the narration. It just feels like a lot of this movie has things added on to it that really just, I don't wonder if they were there to begin with or not. Warm Bodies is a little messy, and frankly, I'll be honest with you, it kind of meanders so much to the point that I think it's kind of boring. And I know a lot of people were excited to see me talk about this on the channel, but it did not work out for me. I was just not a fan of this movie, to be honest with you. I don't know if you're a younger teen, if you would like this more. I don't know if it was trying to appeal more to a girl audience or not. I don't know. I don't know if they would like it. My wife thought it was creepy when I was watching it last night in the room because she doesn't like zombies. So those noises, those sound effects, the kind of jump scares they cheat with maybe once in the movie or twice in the movie, they're not really something I think most girls like. I don't know. Can't really speak from too much experience aside from my wife, but it wasn't great. The film visually looks very well for the cinematography, and again, the budget seems to be fairly nice. I think Nicholas Hoult gives a good performance. He is the stealing show of the entire film. And he's fun and funny sometimes with the head narration stuff that he does. But it just feels like a lot is missing. It feels like there's not enough plot here of trying to get this young lady he has a crush on into a safe place. I wasn't crazy about it. It just, I don't know, something's missing from this movie. There's a semi-heart to it. Like even the main character, Nicholas Hoult, as a zombie, has a friend who is like the one guy he considers a friend in the head narration. And these zombies, that his type of zombie, they can only mention like one word here or there until they can't, because the film doesn't have a standard lore that makes sense. And the resolution of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it obviously in case you haven't seen it, but I think it was absolutely so stupid. Everything the film had set up made the apocalypse make no sense, if I'm being honest with you. Whether we're looking at it figuratively or metaphorically, the apocalypse should not have happened based on what happened at the end of this movie. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing from a screenwriting performance to just whatever kind of angle we're looking at this with. It doesn't make sense and it's dumb. It's really dumb, if I'm being honest with you. Warm Bodies is a mess. But I will say one good thing about it. The many albums that our main character Nicholas Hoult listens to are really good. This has a lot of like kind of 80s classics that you'll know if you've listened to the movie. It has some modern day at the time classic songs that I really like. You'll probably still hear on like Spotify and Pandora, so on and so on, even on YouTube meme videos. But that stuff was really good. The soundtrack for this film is really, really good. The actual score of the movie, I hated. I thought it was embarrassing. It was just weird, almost like, I don't even know how to explain it. It just didn't fit the movie, in my opinion. Again, it had that indie flair to it, which I think was deliberate, but it didn't fit a lot of this movie, to be honest with you. I did not like the regular score, but the soundtrack, again, was fantastic. Really, truly. At the end of the day, Warm Bodies was a big old missed opportunity, and at the end of the day, I'd say it's a very cold-bodied movie. I think it kind of, at the end of the day, was stupid. It was boring, it was nonsensical based on the lore they built for the film. If you're looking at it metaphorically, or you're a dumb teenager, yeah, you're probably going to really like it, but everybody else with a brain thinks this is probably stupid. Now, you might have your taste, and maybe you like it because it's so bad it's good or something, I don't know. But when I look at horror comedies, this is not even close, in my opinion, to being up there in the top tier things that people always talk about with horror comedy. Older, newer, anything like that. Warm Bodies fails on all of that for me, despite Nicholas Hoult being really good and despite Teresa Palmer being fairly good here too. It's a big mixed old bag, in my opinion. It's not what I wanted it to be honest with you. I was expecting something a lot funnier, and I think if Mark Webb had made this movie, I think it'd be a lot better. It sounds insulting, but I mean it. I really do believe that. So anyway, Warm Bodies, if I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would probably give this little, what I thought would be a hidden gem and totally wasn't, probably a 2 out of 5 stars. I was not crazy about this at all. It's got a lot of good in it, but a shit ton of bad. Shit ton of amateur nonsense that feels like studio interference, that feels like producer interference by the end of it. Like the narration thing that shouldn't have been here. But aside from that, what did you guys think about Warm Bodies? I'd love to hear everything you have to say about this movie, the amazing Nicholas Hoult and how talented he is. Nicholas Hoult, excuse me, not Colt. He's extremely talented. I love that guy. But what did you think about the film? Let me know all of your thoughts and comments about it down in the comment section down below. Let me ask you a real question. What do you think is better as a zombie horror comedy, this or Shaun of the Dead? I haven't even seen Shaun of the Dead in probably 15 years, and I think it's better than this, to be honest with you. Anyway, let me know all your thoughts down below. What's your favorite horror comedy of all time, too? Mine is probably Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. That's a great movie, man. Anyway, thank you guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.